Joy is a character that I did not care for in the games, but after observing the much-needed overhaul she received in the anime, she became one of my top 5 favorite characters in the entire franchise. There are moments, headcanons, and theories for the future about her that I'd love to cover in subsequent videos. But for now, I'd like to focus on a particular scene that really caught my eye, especially after fellow YouTuber Manny Magnus Garcia gave an excellent interpretation of it. I'll have his video linked in the comments for your reference, and I do recommend checking out his channel in general, as he's a swell guy with lots of interesting things to say about video games, old and new. Manny inspired me to offer my own take on the scene, where Joy watches a young girl console a tenant with a balloon after he's been threatened by land sharks in the bustling streets of Hong Kong. I think a large part of understanding why the creators might have included this moment involves taking Joy's background into consideration. So, let's start there. Joy's mother was assassinated by the traitorous Yellowheads when she was around 8 years old. Until the last episode of the anime, she refused to associate with her father Chun, White Tie member, a casino mogul, who'd previously employed the gang as their bodyguards, because she blamed him for not preventing it, or at least avenging her death. At 18 years old, we see how Joy's anger manifests in that she actually projects her own insecurities onto others, despite her condescending behavior being heavily toned down for the anime. She's been grieving all these years, but never once considered how Chun feels or communicated that something should be done about the Yellowheads' increasingly negative influence in Hong Kong. In fact, she herself feels unable to challenge them and largely keeps to herself when it comes to her grief. Joy's perspective is nonetheless understandable and sympathetic. She's taken to the streets with Wong and the Heavens Gang, witnessing firsthand the everyday horrors citizens have to endure following the instability that comes with Hong Kong's impending handoff from British occupation. There's no doubt she had to get used to this environment really quickly. Coupled with Chun's social status and her Heavens affiliation, being able to fend for herself against anyone who's not experienced in the martial arts ensures almost no one can touch her. It's clear Joy is not concerned with having a cushy life. She wants justice for her society, not just revenge for her mother's death, even when she doesn't yet realize how impactful her advice, support, and generosity are, especially upon meeting Ryo, which I'll absolutely be discussing further in another video. Her loyalty to her friends is commendable, and I believe the reason she tends to insert herself in matters whether they affect her or not is because she wants to redeem herself somehow, and doesn't want others to be burdened any more than they have or the way she has. Which finally brings us to the balloon scene. As Manny explained in his video, this can be seen as a reference to English street artist Bansky's Girl with Balloons stencil murals that symbolize love and hope. Here's where my thoughts come in. Over the years since 2002, these murals were created as campaigns regarding different social issues, such as the 2017 general election in the UK and the ongoing Syrian refugee crisis. In the context of the anime, I take it as foreshadowing Joy's riskier, more overt attempts at responding to the Yellowheads' wrongdoings, if not Hong Kong's precarity altogether, and being truly connected to those she cares about, including Chun, so that they can work at making life happier and giving themselves closure. She does eventually heed Wong's pleas to help take down the Yellowheads, even if it means risking her own life, and she decides to finally visit Chun when she sees he does indeed think of his late wife and bring flowers to her grave. I find it interesting that this particular balloon is pink, rather than the red heart-shaped balloon typically shown in Bansky's murals. Pink balloons apparently carry multiple meanings, and while it's unclear whether the animators intended it to be so, the relevant messages I'm about to list off are quite accurate here. Ambition, hope, joy, childhood, freedom or adventure, kindness, openness in relationships, devotion, peace of mind, being under stress, pessimism, trauma, indecision, needing to acknowledge personal barriers to grow and achieve goals, allowing resentment to override control of one's life and even deeper bonding opportunities with others, and lastly, being the victim of someone abusing their power. It might also be worth noting that the little girl's dress is green, and this color shares some of the same meanings with the addition of trust, for our purposes anyway. Given that I've been discussing these in some way or another all throughout the video, I reckon I don't need to elaborate any further. What is your opinion of the balloon scene? What are other meanings associated with pink balloons you can think of that make sense for joy? Let me know in the comments. Let's get juicing, let's get sweaty, and let's get that Shenmue 4 Anime Season 2 combo.